But Jim, ESPN,
Yes.
on their website known as ESPN.com.
Entertainment and Sports Programming Network, for those of us who use their full given Christian name.
Very good. Most people try to figure it out and can't figure out what it is. But they just put up an article a few days ago. Many listeners have sent it in. From MJF and Rhea to a Viking, here are the 30 best pro wrestlers under 30. Have you seen this list?
I know you've told me about it, and I specifically remained ignorant about it so that I would be able to hear it at first blush from you right here on the program.
Well, before we get to any list, here's their preamble. This is by Mark Raimondi and Brandon Caldwell. The pro wrestling...
I thought it was Brandon Cutlet.
The pro wrestling business is on the upswing. WWE is selling out arenas at a torrid pace and posting impressive television ratings. AEW is about to put a potentially record-setting amount of people inside London's Wembley Stadium later this month. Impact is as good as it's been in years.
Well, boy, that wasn't exactly a full-throated endorsement. Boy, I tell you what, that raw sewage smells better than it has all month.
WWE breaking box office records. AEW about to break attendance records. Impact's as good as it's been in years.
Yeah.
Overseas, stalwarts New Japan Pro Wrestling. Stalwarts New Japan Pro Wrestling.
They're the competition to Hogwarts.
And CMLL in Mexico have recovered from rough pandemic stretches. Stardom is the fastest growing promotion in the world. Lucha Libre.
Wait a minute. Whose metrics? Stardom is the fastest growing wrestling promotion in the world. For those of you, and there are many of you who don't know what the fuck that is, that's Uncle Dave's favorite Japanese promotion over there for the girls.
Well, it's Japanese women. It's Japanese women, and
yes.
It is the largest Japanese women wrestling company. It does have a lot of followers worldwide. Lucha Libre,
largest Japanese women's wrestling promotion equals nicest guy in prison.
Speaking of prison, Lucha Libre AAA worldwide, commonly referred to as just AAA, just drew more than 15,000 people for its Triple Mania Tijuana show last month.
We heard differing reports on that.
Yeah, and half of those people beat up Don Callis.
Yeah.
At ESPN.
They were standing in line like that scene in Airplane. Let me at him next.
Conan! At ESPN, we have made lists of the best 25 fighters under the age of 25 in both MMA and boxing. So, why not a similar list for pro wrestling? In the fight game, athletes usually peak younger. But in wrestling, it's typically somewhere in an athlete's 30s. Stone Cold Steve Austin was 33 when his popularity exploded in 1998. Hulk Hogan was 31 at WrestleMania 1, and Roman Reigns is doing his best work right now at age 38. Let's stop right there. It's a very good point. You know, baseball, football, whatever it is, everyone peaks young. With wrestling, because so much of it is, I guess, learning the psychology and learning the reasoning and learning how to get away with not doing as much, you peak older.
That's exactly it. Because, yes, your athletic prime is in your 20s. That's for most athletes, whether it be the Olympics or gymnasts or boxers or whatever the case, because you're younger and you're in better shape and blah, blah, blah. And so for sports that can be, quantified like that, how hard can you hit, how far can you throw or whatever, that's, where you're going to be at your peak. But because wrestling, you see it all the time. Guys in their 20s take bigger bumps and they're, working probably faster and they're doing more athletic things, but you don't become an all-around good worker and a main event level guy until you have experience working in front of different people, what works and what doesn't. It's not just about how high can you jump. It's when's the best time for you to jump? And can you stir people up when you do jump? And that takes time and learning. It's like going to, graduate school to study what you've already mastered physically, but now you're getting the mental way of looking at it. Plus it takes, and especially in the territories, it took sometimes the Sheik was not really a true main event guy until he bought the Detroit promotion and was 40 years old. It takes time to, especially to either go through the territories in those days or now to get to one of the big companies to begin with and to get exposed on television. And then if you're not being presented in the right gimmick or the right way or the right push or whatever from the start, it's going to take you longer because there's going to be stops and starts. LA Knight, unfortunately, is going to become Max Dupree for whatever reason. These things happen. So, yeah, the guys are older when they're truly main event level talent and can carry the ball if they're given it. But I do not have good experience or optimistic viewpoints of these best of anything lists in wrestling because they're always written by people who know just enough to be dangerous, as Mama Cornette would say, about the wrestling business to begin with, but we shall see.
Below is our list of the 30 best pro wrestlers under the age of 30. The rankings were based on merit rather than on future potential, which is far more subjective. The criteria included drawing power, popularity, skills, position on the roster, and accomplishments, including championships and tournament victories. About a dozen different promotions are represented in some way over multiple countries.
I was about to say, they're setting this up, so I bet we haven't heard of half of the bottom 20.
Well, let's start, I guess, at number 1, and we'll work our way backwards, or work our way back, or work our way forward. Whatever we're going to do.
Down, isn't it? Down?
We're going to go uphill. But number 1...
it's easier to go downhill.
Number 1, Jim, on the list of the 30 best under 30, MJF. Promotion,
Boom.
AEW, age, 27. Generational talent isn't just a nickname or catchphrase. Long Island's own Maxwell Jacob Friedman is one of the best mid-20s wrestlers the business has seen in some time. He's already the focal point of AEW, winning the promotion's World Championship last November. ESPN rated him the 2022 Promo Artist of the Year. I didn't know that was an award. The Promo Artist of the Year.
I swear to, where were these fucking awards in 1986?
He won the 2022 Promo Artist of the Year, and frankly, he's been just as good in between the ropes. MJF's Iron Man match with Bryan Danielson at AEW Revolution in March was an instant classic. And his 4-way match with Jack Perry, Darby Allin, and Sammy Guevara was excellent too. It's scary to think he hasn't reached his prime yet. What are your thoughts? Number 1, MJF.
It's scary. It's scary. I mean, I don't know who else is on this list. I haven't kept track of everybody's age as we go over these other names. We'll see, but it would be hard to think of anybody else. I mean, Braun Breaker, but he's not the fucking cunning linguist that MJF is.
And again, we're basing it on now, not future potential. He's the world champion.
Right. So, I think, I don't see an argument with this one.
Number 2 on the list, at 26 years of age from WWE, Rhea Ripley.
Whoa! And there you go. If there was someone that was better than MJF that should be in the number 1 spot, it might be Rhea Ripley, except she's, again, nobody is the promo, but she's the best woman wrestler right now, I think, in the world, all around, promo, look, and in-ring. So I don't have a problem with this one either. How old is she again?
26 years old.
Boom. She's got ages to even get better.
I think she may end up being the best of all time at the end of it. She's this good now, and she's as good as anyone else in the business that we've seen. Like you said, the promos, the matches, the little things, the selling. It's going to be interesting to see the next 10 years of this career.
Well, but she's not going to take 10 years to get in movies. She'll be gone by then.
Number 3 on the list at 26 years of age from WWE, Austin Theory.
Boy, this guy might have something here. Usually these lists are caca. This guy, it seems he's got his shit together, Austin Theory. That's a good number 3. I'm thinking, got to be honest with you, I need to see Braun Breaker showing up here pretty soon, but so far I'm not arguing.
Here's what ESPN said. It would not be a shock to see him as the face of the entire industry in a few years. Theory, the WWE United States champion, has some things to polish up. He just turned 26 years old, after all. But he's a 5-tool player. Good at just about everything you would want a wrestler to be good at. He has the looks, the charisma, the athleticism, and the presence to be a top guy for a long time. Just wait until he puts it all together.
So is this guy listening to our show?
Well, let's see.
He just said Theory will be the face of the company in a few years. That's kind of what we said, wasn't it?
It's kind of what you said. You're the one who first pointed out Austin Theory.
Now you're blaming me.
Well, number 4 on the list, at 26 years of age, from AEW, AAA, Ring of Honor, and GCW, El Hijo del Vikingo.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh, God.
A second-generation star.
All right.
Vikingo has already carved out a name as Lucha Libre's next heir apparent in AAA. However, his March 22nd match against Kenny Omega on AEW Dynamite promptly set social media ablaze.
Oh, boy.
With fluidity and zero abandon,
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Pump the brakes. With fluidity and zero abandon. He had abandoned all of his abandon.
With fluidity and zero abandon, Vikingo attempted to break gravity on several occasions.
What does gravity have to do with this? He didn't come in for a few more weeks.
Via springboard 630 splashes, Phoenix splashes, and more. At his young age, he is already the 3rd longest reigning AAA mega champion.
Thrills.
More and more U.S. audiences will become aware of Vikingo's greatness, making him a near impossible act to miss.
Good. All right. As soon as I put this guy over, he shoots himself in the foot and me in the balls with this ridiculousness. MJF, yes, you can see for all the reasons listed. Rhea Ripley, yes. Austin Theory. And I'm saying I need to see a Braun Breaker pretty soon. Number 4 is Vikingo. He can't talk. He's minute, almost microscopic. It's goddamn rehearsed fucking gymnastics. And nobody, in the United States of America at least, is ever going to fucking say, oh my God, Vikingo's in the main event. I can't miss this. Are they out of their fucking mind? How can you not see the difference between MJF, Rhea Ripley, Austin Theory, Vikingo? One of these things is not like the other.
Well, again, if this is a worldwide and international in scope list, and we're talking about who is, like they said, the heir apparent right now, one of the biggest stars in Mexico, that would forget about his American stuff.
They think this guy's going to be the biggest star in Mexico. My God, what in the world has happened to Mexico?
Well, when you're up there with Commander and Gravity, you stand out. But Jim, number 5 on the list, at 26 years of age, that seems to be the popular number.
Yeah.
From WWE, Dominic Mysterio.
Okay. I can see that ahead of Vikingo. Where the fuck's Braun Breaker? It's starting to piss me off now. I'm not even trying to slack off on Dominic because he's very good, but Dominic Mysterio is not going to be the WWE champion, any of them, in the next 3 years. I think Braun Breaker will be, just like I think Austin Theory will be.
At number 6 on the list, Jim, 25 years of age from NXT, Braun Breaker.
Thank you. I've already made the comment.
Number 7 on the list, at 28 years of age from NXT, Carmelo Hayes.
He's the one with the friend Trick.
That's right.
And Trick is still about it.
I think he's the one because I'm not familiar with everyone at NXT anymore. He just had a match with Ilya Dragunov that people were raving about that you had to watch. And not a surprise considering Dragunov was in it, but they were saying Carmelo Hayes looked really good too.
Well, people rave about a lot of Elia's matches. No, we have seen Carmelo Hayes right before we stopped watching NXT. I think he was coming in. That's because I remember his friend Trick. But I've got nothing against Carmelo Hayes, and obviously Viking O doesn't have the potential or the talent that Carmelo does. So far we're just he had to include somebody from AAA in just to not hurt their feelings or what? Everything else looking okay.
Number 8 on the list, 28 years of age, from AEW and DDT, Konosuke Takeshita.
Okay, and I wish they wouldn't even say from DDT. That's the comedy promotion where they wrestle the blow-up dolls into bullshit. Hopefully people will never know that he had any involvement with them. This guy, of all of the Japanese talent sometimes in quotation marks, that they have brought into AEW, he's the one that can be a star. The legends they brought in are so broken down and preposterous looking to the naked eye that it just makes people laugh. And the guys that on their roster in AEW are so wrapped up in the legend of these guys that they put everything they do over to such an even more ridiculous extent because it looks like shit. And or you had the Kenny Olivier, of Japanese Joshi indie outlaw apartment wrestling girls. But our friend Take a Shit, he's got the size, he's got the look, he's got the athletic ability. Hopefully he can get away from who I'm afraid are his friends, the Cucamonga Kids and Twinkle Toes and all the play wrestlers, and I wish Punk would take him on Collision. And I wish that somebody could teach him the things that Gary Hart would have taught him, or that some of the old territory bookers would teach him. And I believe he could be a tremendous fucking heel. I got no problem with our friend Take.
Okay, next.
And honestly, they need to change his name because nobody can call him Take a Shit like we can on television. And Takeshita, yeah.
Well, number 9 on the list, Jim, at 29 years of age from WWE, Liv Morgan.
Oh boy, I guess they got to put a girl up in there that's not Rhea. Seriously.
She's popular.
She's 5 feet tall, if that. And isn't she the one that they tried to make extreme, so every time they hit her with a bus or throw her off the roof, she laughs about it?
Was that her?
I think so, wasn't it? She's nuts.
No, that's Alexa Bliss.
No, she's the one that was in Bray Wyatt's fucking deal.
Liv Morgan was the one that was teaming up with Raquel Gonzalez.
I can't remember. They're all alike.
All right, well, you don't remember who she is. Let's go to the next person on the list. Number 10, 28 years of age from WWE, Logan Paul.
Again, not a bad choice because we're not talking about is he a full-time wrestler. We're just talking about is he under 30 in wrestling. And so Logan Paul obviously should immediately be above Liv Morgan, Take a Shit, Carmelo Hayes, and Viking-O especially because he's already a main event fucking guy and in featured matches.
Number 11 on the list, at 29 years of age, from Stardom, Julia. You've never seen Julia, correct?
Well, no, I used to watch every week. Diane Carroll. Lloyd Nolan was the doctor that she worked for, and I can't remember her little son, Corey. What was his name?
Well, it's a different spelling. It's Giulia.
Oh, I don't know her.
All right. Well, number 12 on the list at 29.
Apparently nobody else does either.
Well, no, she's very popular, and she may be, out of all the Japanese wrestlers right now, she may be the one that probably gets a big American deal because she's very good looking and also pretty good in the ring.
You've said that to me before. I will wait until she's actually seen in this country.
Number 12 on the list at 29 years of age from WWE, Butch.
And right there is a reason why they ought to think a lot harder when they give people these names. Fuck. You know, he's a good kid. Maybe one of these days he'll be a real person again, and we'll see what he can do.
Number 13 on the list, at 26 years of age from AEW, Jack Perry.
You know, we're getting down in the middle of it, and as we're seeing, it's only going to get worse from here, so I don't think that's bad placement for him. He's kind of in the middle of the pack. He can do something, we hope, but just undistinguished so far.
At number 14 from NXT at 28 years of age, Wes Lee.
Help me.
He was in a tag team with the other guy who got fired.
Oh, they did all the stupid flips and had prison tattoos.
That was
bad
them.
Haircuts.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Number 15 on the list at 24 years of age from Stardom, Utami Hayashishita.
Yeah. That's a fucking name made for a fucking marquee right there.
Well, actually, she's the daughter, it says here, of Japanese TV personality Kiyoshi Big Daddy Hayashishita. If I am pronouncing that correctly.
I would think the odds are probably against it.
Jim, number 16 on the list.
Well, wait a minute. Hold on. How many... Well, I should say, how many people reading this column, probably anybody who gives a shit, probably lives on the internet and knows these people's names. But do you think people just randomly scrolling through ESPN.com know who Utami Big Daddy fucking Ritter is or whatever?
Probably not. If anything, this may be the introduction to, who's that person? Let me Google search their name. Let me look for a video.
I don't think anybody's going to be that fucking caught up in it, but go ahead.
Number 16 at 27 years of age from AEW, Tony Storm.
So Tony Storm, who's not only been on WWE television, but has been on AEW TV and has been featured, and I can't remember, I think she's got one of the 14 girls belts. She's not as noted, as over, as popular, or whatever the case, the criteria are here, as Utami Shoofly Pie and fucking Vikingo.
And again, she doesn't have a belt anymore. She lost the belt to Hikaru Shida last week.
I forgot. Yeah.
Match.
Well, that's what dropped her down to number 16. Where's Hikaru Shida on this list?
Well, I'm not sure what her age is. Let's see if she's there. We're only at 17. Number 17 at 28 years of age from NXT, Dragon Lee. Last seen on AEW TV being unmasked by his partners, and then we never saw him ever again.
Well, yeah. Number 18?
Number 18, 28 years of age from AEW and GCW, Bandito.
Oh, good Lord. Okay. Keep going.
Number 19, at 28 years of age from AEW, Jamie Hayter.
So again, Jamie Hayter, one of the 3 women in AEW that could be classified as somebody who can work if left to their own devices. She gets 4 spots below Utami, and she's not as over as Julia at number 11.
At number 20, at 26 years of age from AEW, Wheeler Yuta.
Oh, Jesus Christ. You know, I'm probably going to be pissed when I think of or realize or remember all the people they could have put on this list below number 11 than what they've done.
I will save you anything because you don't know these people. At 21, 22, and 23 are Japanese wrestlers you've never heard of or seen.
Okay.
24, at the age of 27, I'm surprised by that. Independent wrestler, it says, Jordan Grace.
Jordan Grace. Oh, Butterface. I trended on Twitter one time for calling her Butterface. People thought I was fat shaming her because they didn't understand the meaning of the word Butterface.
Well, apparently she's 27 and on the indies and number 24 on this list.
Well, good for her. Glad to see she got honest work.
At number 25 on the list, at the age of 29 from Impact, Deonna Purrazzo.
I've seen her work a few times. I know she trained a lot with Rip Rogers, and he thinks highly of her, but I don't know anything else about that.
At number 26 on the list, Jim, 29 years of age, from NXT, Ilya Dragunov.
Okay, we've seen Ilya, and you're going to have to do a lot of convincifying to tell me that he's not as good as Deonna Purrazzo, Jordan Grace, 3 unknown Japanese people, Wheeler Yuta, Bandito, Dragon Lee, Utami, whatever the fuck, Julia, and Vikingo. So he must not have been nice to the author of this article.
At number 27 on the list, at the age of 25, from Impact and GCW, Marsha Slamovich.
Who is Marsha Slamovich?
Born in Russia, with training in Japan, Slamovich is well-rounded and simply one of the most promising young women's wrestlers in the world. She won the Impact Knockouts Tag Team title with Killer Kelly last month, and is sure to be a factor long-term in that division. Slamovich has arguably done her best work in Game Changer Wrestling,
oh boy,
where she had a stint as the promotion's world champion, not the women's champion, earlier this year after beating deathmatch legend Nick Gage.
So wait a minute, you're saying the bank-addicted drug robber was the world champion of Garbage Championship Wrestling and lost their world title to a girl? The old Plumber Moxley's hero, the badass himself, the fucking pizza-cutting, junk heap riding, gig marking, fucking bank-addicted drug robber got beat by a girl? What the fuck?
For the world championship, yes.
By Marsha Slamovich.
It's a good name.
I like the name, and now is this another thing where they have to do half guys and half girls? Because they're coming up on 15 women on this thing now. Or did they just run out of guys under 30?
Well, we're almost done with the list. At number 28, 26 years of age, from NXT, Tyler Bate.
I've seen young Master Bate before. Nice kid.
At number 29, 24 years of age, he may be the youngest person we've seen on here, from AEW and PWG, Daniel Garcia.
All right. Okay.
At number 30, finally, 26 years of age, from New Japan, Shota Umino.
Umino?
Umino.
Oh, Umino. Umino, my Umino. There you go.
Well, here are the honorable mentions.
Oh, we get honorable now.
Atlantis Jr., AZM, Blake Christian, Cameron Grimes, Creed Brothers, Chris Statlander.
All right, I'm losing track now.
Here's a name from the past. Leo Rush, Maki Ito.
Oh, geez. So that just anybody that's under 30 can make this list now.
Miyu Yamashita, Ren Narita, Riho. How come Riho didn't make this list out of all the people? That's weird. Roxanne Perez.
She has to be in her late 30s.
She
looks like Italia Shire if in fucking Rocky, peering through the fucking pet shop window.
Also, the Starlight Kid, Sean Skywalker, Sonya Deville, and Kyle Fletcher of Aussie Open. So what are your thoughts on the future of professional wrestling as it appears today on this list?
Apparently it's fucked. Once you got past, okay, on a list of major stars in the future in the wrestling business, I agree with MJF, Rhea Ripley, Austin Theory, Dominic Mysterio, Braun Breaker, probably Carmelo Hayes, our friend Take a Shit, and Logan Paul. Tony Storm ain't bad. Jamie Hayter, we mentioned. And Ilya, even though I'm realistic enough to know that he's not going to be a main event guy in that system. And the rest of these people are on this list apparently because they haven't turned 30 yet. Because anybody would think they're going to be a major fucking name, any of these people in fucking wrestling, I'm sorry. And you know what? At one time, this would have been a list that guys like Terry Gordy and Bobby Eaton were on, and fucking Michael Hayes, and, half of the territories guys were under 25.
Every Von Erich.
And all at the same time, you had major stars just in the United States. You didn't even need to go around the world to list,
Mid-South 84, who was over the age of 30? Dennis, right?
Dennis was 30. Believe it or not, Dennis, when we got there, was 33. Hercules Hernandez was not 30 yet. Hacksaw Duggan wasn't 30 yet. Was DiBiase 30 yet? Obviously, Nikolai Volkov was in his 40s, but Crusher Khrushchev was in his 20s.
DiBiase was born in 54, so he would have been turning 30 that year.
Butch Reed may have been 30, but maybe not.
Buddy
Landell was in his 20s. Bobby Eaton was in his 20s. I was in my 20s.
Ricky and Robert
were in their 20s. The whole
even Ricky?
Yes.
I'm kidding.
Well, come on now. Yeah, even his real birth year or his admitted birth year, he still was in his 20s. So, I mean, the whole territory, with the exception of Nikolai Volkov, Mr. Wrestling 2, was 50 by that. Magnum was in his 20s. Magnum TA. The whole fucking territory. And then in 1984, Lawler was 35 years old, but he had been a main event star in Memphis for 11 years at that point. I mean,
it's interesting. You don't think about it. I was looking at this thinking, wow, the top of this list is really front loaded with MJF, Rhea Ripley, Austin Theory. But then when you think about this period of time, even Piper and Hogan, they were just turning 30 in 84 as Vince McMahon was going to the national expansion. Snuka was older, but with the territory...
Snuka started late, too.
Yeah, but with the territories, you had so many guys who, in the 80s at their peak were still in their 20s, and you don't really have that anymore.
Well, and when Terry Gordy, when the Freebirds were hot in Mid-South, Gordy was still 19 years old.
He was a teenager. He wasn't even in his 20s.
He main evented the Superdome as a teenager. So this is not really impressive talking about the future of wrestling when you can only come up with this many names that's worth a shit that are under 30. When there was almost this many people in two territories that were under 30 40 years ago.
Well, it can be depressing. It's certainly not a fun thing to think about, but maybe after talking about a topic like this, you want to sit down and unwind with a nice glass of wine.
That's it. Instead of whining, we ought to start whining. And the best place to go for your wine, I'm not talking about your wine. Everybody knows the best place to go for your wine is Twitter. But if you want to go someplace for your wine, you've got to try Firstleaf. And that's the name of the website, folks. Try firstleaf.com. TryFirstleaf. Now, some people thought that Firstleaf may indicate that it was a cannabis operation, but no, it is a wine operation, world-class wines, because let's face it, summer is on us. We got the pool parties, Labor Day's coming up. After Labor Day, you got to drink on Halloween, and most people drink at Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's. Well, holy mackerel, they're hooting and hollering. So it's basically all year round. You need to make sure you've got great wine at the ready, and that's why right now is the perfect time to join the Firstleaf Wine Club. And the way it all starts is this. You just answer a few quick questions again on your likes and dislikes on the website so that they know exactly what you're looking for. Their expert team, they've got an entire team of experts on every facet of the wine process. They got grape experts, and they got alcohol experts, and they've got vat experts, all the step. They've even got this son of a bitch with the biggest feet I've ever seen mushes these these grapes specifically for this thing. Must be size 23. I don't know.
I don't know who you're talking about.
He never wears shoes, though. The guy that stomps all their grapes. Anyway.
That's Andre's dream job.
You go to the website. You tell them about your likes and dislikes, what you like the taste of, what you don't. Do you like the rosés, the white wines, the terrific reds, the sparkling wines of all kinds? And their expert team, the sommeliers, will select a customized assortment of world-class wines based on your preference, and they have a monthly delivery that you can schedule. So let's say, for example, you got a parole hearing. You got to go downtown. You know you're not going to be sitting there at home to accept your shipment of world-class wines. So you tell them, I don't want it on the day I got to go see my parole officer. I want it on Tuesday. You get to pick your day, and that way you don't have to stress about missing the deliveries. And they're delivered right to your door, so you don't have to drive anywhere to pick them up and then potentially get in trouble. You can sit in your living room and get crocked on your ass all you want on these fine world-class wines that you're going to love all summer long, and they're all priced lower than what you would pay at a wine store. You know, some people go to a wine store, some people go to a beer store, some people go to a liquor store, but you don't have to do any of that because it's going to come to you. Not only are they going to bring the wine, but also they're going to bring the cash register. They're going to bring the lotto machine. It's all going to show up on your front porch. The whole liquor store is going to be set up right in your front yard. And just watch out for robberies. You've got to then hire extra security. Brian, you've had that problem. Every time you set up a liquor store in your front yard, somebody comes along and knocks the joint over, and you've got to hire extra security.
I do not set up a liquor store, and either should the listeners not in English somehow do whatever I was trying to say there. Don't set up a liquor store. Let the wine into your house. Drink it. Let it into your belly. Enjoy it. But keep it inside. And, of course, this is not a chance to set up your own store. This is a chance to enjoy the wine. Thank you very much.
You're getting this wine so cheap you could resell it at a profit, and they'd be none the wiser at Firstleaf.
I'm drinking it right now.
And apparently you are. I wish you'd stop drinking before we go to work. But anyway, folks, if you want to make sure you got great wine when you want it this summer or anytime, or especially if you're on a podcast with me and apparently you got to get shit-faced, try Firstleaf. Just head over to tryfirstleaf.com/JCE to sign up, and you're going to get your first 6 hand-curated bottles for just $44.95. Try firstleaf.com/JCE, and you're going to get your first 6 bottles for under $8 a bottle. I'm doing that math. This is 6 times 8. It's even under 8 times 7, 50. Now 6, wait, it was 6 times 7 is 42. It's cheap. Holy mackerel. I mean, you can't even get a case of Ripple for a price like this. So once again, great wine right to your door. You don't have to worry about hiring the off-duty security guards for the front yard because you don't have a liquor store set up there because it's all coming to you via the couriers from Firstleaf. They'll drop it off, and then you drink it, you cook with it. What you do with it is none of their business. They're only going to ask a couple of questions, and they'll probably accept your answers. Try firstleaf.com/JCE. Now, let's see, $8 a bottle times 48. But if it was $7.42, it's only $7.20-something cents a bottle, by the way that I'm figuring this. Well, God damn it. And they brewed this stuff last Tuesday. You'd think it'd cost more than that.